Welcome back to the Splash City Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hartman, and we are officially hitting that fever pitch where the calendar says February, but every single game feels like March. We have a massive show today, a family affair, bringing in special guests that I've been looking forward to all season. But before we get to them, we have to talk about a wild weekend in hoops in the Twin Cities. First of all, the Gopher women got ranked last week in the poll, and it was a roller coaster of a week for them at the barn. They've had 2 home games against ranked opponents. They knocked off number 10 Ohio State earlier in the week to stretch their win streak to 9 games, but that was snapped yesterday on Sunday against number 18 Michigan State in a tough home loss. Despite a career high 29 points from Tori McKinney, the Spartans were just too much to handle. On the men's side, the Gophers men picked up 2 wins over the weekend or over the past week. They beat Oregon earlier in the week out in Eugene, and they come home and they are red hot from 3 in that game against Rutgers. 2 in a row for Nico Medved. Bobby Durkin was on fire. Gophers just shot like something like 58% from 3 in that game. So get 2 in a row. They beat Rutgers by 19, moved to 6-10 in the Big Ten. Meanwhile, at Target Center, the Timberwolves kind of gave us that full Timberwolves experience this weekend. Friday night, they beat Dallas, kind of gave away a big lead, came back, Mavericks tie it up, and then the Wolves take control and dominant towards the end of that game. And then Sunday, no Rudy Gobert due to another suspension from a flagrant foul, no Naz Reid, and kind of one of those games where you just want to burn that tape. They lose by 27 at home to the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey just couldn't handle them. Timberwolves couldn't handle Tyrese Maxey, so he made them pay for everything in that game. So we'll see if they can get back on track. They got about 24 games left, I think, in the regular season, vying for that to stay out of the play-in, to try to get a home series that first round. So a lot of work to do for the Timberwolves. Today's show, we're going to have 3 big segments, I'd say. We're going to start off with a discussion with my niece, Lily Mahoney, who's a senior, West Central Area Knights girls basketball team as they enter tournament play. Just want to talk to her about what it's like to be a senior. Last year, her team won the state championship in Class A, and expectations that come with that, and how she's just kind of dealing with everything being a senior in your last go round here as they enter tournament play. So that's a fun conversation. Her mother, my sister, Christine Mahoney, also joins to talk about the parent perspective of that final season for a parent as well. And then we'll talk college basketball whip around. We want to talk about some big games in college basketball over the weekend, and then also some big injuries that are going to impact a lot of things that come soon here at the end of the college men's season. And lastly, I'll get to the teams of the week in Minnesota basketball as well as some small colleges. So with that, let's get into it. All right. Very lucky today on the podcast to have a special guest, my niece, Lily Mahoney, senior at West Central Area, and her mother, my sister, Christine Mahoney, just to give a perspective on the senior year, going through a career. And we have girls tournament starting this week. And it's a long grind from when you're 3rd grade, 4th grade playing basketball. And now, you kind of have a culmination of your career here. So Lily, Christine, thank you so much for doing this. I can't wait to chat here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
So Lily, I wanted to start with you. Last year, you were part of a championship team, something very few high school players get to do. What was that like from your perspective as a player on that team, as a junior, kind of, playing in Williams Arena, doing all the, the medal ceremony, like all that stuff? Like, what was that like?
Like starting off like in playoffs, like we didn't really expect to like go that far, and like even in playoffs, and then let alone win state, we did not like expect that. So that was just really fun, and just like skipping school to hang out with like my best friends and play basketball was really fun. Yeah, just hanging out in the hotel, and then getting to be in the locker room was really cool because I've never done that. So that was really fun. I don't know. It was just a really fun experience that I'll never forget. So, yeah.
For sure. Christine, from a parent's perspective, like seeing your daughter out on the Williams Arena court, getting the championship trophy, medals, all that stuff. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it is really cool, and I think that like Lily is really lucky to be part of a couple of teams that have gone to state in sports. She was part of a team her junior year for volleyball that got to go to state, and then she gets to go to state for basketball her junior year, or you were sophomore, sorry, yeah, sophomore when you went to state,
Yeah.
part of the team that went to state. And then junior year to be able to go to state basketball and win the championship. Try to put it in perspective for these kids. They've had a lot of, they're very fortunate to be part of some really successful programs, and just like, and they know that, but like to really say, you know what, like most people who play sports, high school sports, never get this experience, never have a game at state, let alone win a championship. So just trying to, you know, tell them all how fortunate they are to have these experiences, because it's pretty rare to do it once and then be able to do it in two different sports. Is pretty cool. So yeah, just trying to keep that in perspective for them. I mean, then all of us parents live vicariously through them, right? Because
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know, most of us or none of us probably had that experience. So
Yeah. I mean, if you do it in softball this year, you get the trifecta.
yeah,
That would be pretty
That would
cool.
be really fun.
that would be awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to start a softball podcast and we can talk about that. We'll stick to basketball today. So, okay, you win state as a junior. Now you come back. You got a bigger role on the team. You also have your sister on varsity with you, seeing her every day. How much fun has that been for you, Lily, to have your sister Elsie playing with you every day and practicing at the varsity practices?
It's been really fun. Like, I feel like this season has gone by so fast, like way faster than any other season. And I don't know if it's because it's my senior year, I'm assuming, but it doesn't even feel like it's been however many months I've been playing basketball. And then having Elsie there has been really fun.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be really sad, like, because this is the only sport we play together. So it'll be sad when it's over. So I'm hoping to make the season as long as possible. Cause
Yeah.
they're really sad when it's over. So.
Yeah. There's like some great sisters in high school basketball. Like, everybody knows the Greenways. I think Rosemont has like 3 sisters on their team, but like obviously the Mahoneys at West Central are my personal favorite group of sisters in girls basketball. Christine, as the parent here, seeing both your daughters, like I was lucky enough to be at the game where I think Elsie scored her first varsity points, and that was really cool. Like, I'm sure there's been a ton of moments like that for you and Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I think seeing them support one another, I think, and just, making these memories together, and being there for each other. Because like you said, basketball's a long season, and they've been, both of them have played a lot of basketball. Lily started playing AU when she was in 4th grade. Elsie the same.
Yeah.
And so just to see, kind of it culminate in them being on a team together. And Elsie's role is definitely, more of a supporting role. But there's been some fun games this year where, those younger girls have been able to play too. Yeah, definitely haven't seen them. They got to play more together on the court last year.
Yeah, we haven't really got to play that much,
Oh,
but
right.
together. But whenever like I have a good game, Elsie's always like the person who's cheering the loudest for
Yeah.
me, and it's really
Yeah.
like cute and
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And I also like having her to like talk to, like if like there's a bad practice or something, I could always talk to her. I know sometimes you can't always talk to your teammates about some things, but Elsie's always
Yeah.
there because she's like my sister. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a special bond. I mean, I don't want to bring on the tears and revisit the senior night speech that she gave, but that was not a dry eye in the building that night, for sure.
Yeah. And that's what, I mean, that's really, it's more about their friendship, I think, than even the sport of basketball, but it just sort of, Elsie's her biggest hype person, and you're her biggest hype woman. So, that senior night speech was very emotional. Lots of people were talking about that, and it definitely came from Elsie's heart, and she is going to miss her next year for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, Lily, going into your senior year, I mean, we talked about last year, you guys won the state championship in Class A. Did you have any, like, were there learnings that you took from that season, or like, how did you approach going into this year, as again, your final season? Like, did you think of it differently, or do you feel like there's more pressure or less, or how did you feel about going into the season?
I'd say there's a little bit more pressure, obviously, because we did so well last year. You can't really do better than that. But I don't know, it just gave me hope that like we can do that again if we really put our hearts into it and work really hard. And that's our goal because last year we did not expect to like go that far, and like I feel like this year we can do it again if we really like want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think what's interesting, like, you know, as a, playing a lot of basketball, watching a lot of basketball, you sometimes think like you have to have these perfect seasons, like these perfect regular seasons or near perfect. And if you don't, there's like no chance. And like last year's team, they had a lot. I mean, there were several rough games, and there were losses, and there were some really, like I think they, really had to come together as a team last year, and that group of
Yeah.
seniors, and so like even this year, again, this year's team has a winning record, but definitely have had some, I think ups and downs and games they wish we would have won. But that doesn't mean, and I think we learned this last year, that doesn't mean that you can't make it a long ways in the postseason, because truly doesn't matter what your record is at this
Right.
point, right? I mean, it helps to have home court advantage and those types of things, but just because you don't have a perfect record or even, several losses doesn't really mean a whole lot going into postseason, especially if you've got the confidence and kind of the experience, I think, from last year kind of hopefully would give you some extra confidence going into the playoffs this year. So
Yeah, I'm just hoping like we've played together for so long, like since like third grade, the seniors at least, and like Brinley, who's like another part of like a big part of our team. Like we played
Mm-hmm.
together for so long that like I feel like we have that bond to just like want to do it for each other and like want to work hard for each other. So
Yeah.
hopefully playoffs goes well.
Yeah. I mean, it is a grind, right? Like that's one thing that is challenging, but also fun about basketball, I think, is that you battle through, a lot of adversity. Like there's no team that won't face adversity this year. Even if you're undefeated, it's still moments of tough, games, and, maybe even like personality, like you're just around each other so much that it wears on you a little bit. And then, you guys last year and also this year, you play a tough schedule. You play a lot of AA teams that are ranked in state and single A teams ranked in state. We were talking about your section being so good. So that's all to prepare you for like this time of year, right? March, late February. So you guys definitely battle tested throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm glad we have that hard schedule because it does prepare you, I feel like, for the games coming up. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you, from your own, like as a player, you were more so off the bench last year. This year you start. Did you do anything different, like mentally or even like working on your game? Did you just have to kind of approach it the same way as you did last year, even when you didn't know what your role was necessarily? This year you kind of had more of a established role.
Yeah, I would say this year, since like I do play a lot more and like I have a bigger role, I would say, on the team, or like a different role than I did last
Mm-hmm.
year. I kind of wanted to prove to like myself and other people that I could be like someone that could score and make a big difference to the team. Like this year, I thought I needed to score, like be one of the like top scorers on the team, or like contribute to the scores. Because like all of us usually, there's always like I feel like we have spread out score. Like everyone usually
Mm-hmm.
has like 10 points or so.
Yeah.
Usually this year, and I don't know. I feel like contributing to that is like a big part of like my role this year. Because if everyone can score, it's kind of hard for other teams to guard that. So
Mm-hmm.
that has been like my mindset, kind of being like one of the top scorers or trying to be one of the top scorers on our team, and
Sure.
just playing good defense. I've been really trying to work on rebounding because we really, like Lydia is a really good rebounder, and so is Maddie. But I've been working on trying to get better at rebounding for the team too. So.
Yeah. I want to kind of ask a few more, I don't know, fun questions. Let's talk about like pregame routine. What does your pregame routine look like? What do you eat
Um,
for like do you have a snack you go to? Do you have music that you listen to?
well, I usually, if it's like a home game, I usually come home after school and I eat something. I usually eat, I don't know, it depends what I eat, but I usually try to eat something kind of healthy because I don't want to feel like super down like when I'm playing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
feeling tired. So I usually eat something kind of healthy, and then we go back and we watch film, or I go back to school and we usually watch film, and then we watch the JV team, and then some of my favorite parts of like pregame is like going to the locker room, and I usually have like music playing and like just singing and dancing together, which is really fun, like to get ready for the game.
Yeah.
Um, I usually
What's your
try to
go-to
listen.
song?
I don't know, something like kind of hype because I feel like I'm already pretty calm. So I need something to like get me kind of excited and like hyped up. So,
Who do you have, and maybe you don't want to call anybody out, but is there anyone that has the craziest dance moves when you're in the locker room pregame? Like
Oh,
who gets you hyped the most?
probably Izzy Pikulski. She
Okay.
definitely is the single person that gets me the most hyped. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
just listening to some good music. Then we usually pray before games, but sometimes we forget. But we do usually try to pray before our games, like.
Okay. Okay.
And then, yeah, we go
Nice.
out there and hopefully win.
Um, let's circle back to like the full arc of your playing because I remember going to some of those AAU games in fourth, fifth grade, watching you guys. As you look, and I don't, it's not over. It's a big week for you guys, but looking back, like what are your some of your favorite memories, both of you? But Lily, why don't you go first? Just favorite memories of basketball in your life, whether it was a road trip, an overnight trip, whatever, could be anything.
Some of my favorite memories. I like AAU, but I feel like my school season has always been my favorite because those
Okay.
are like my best friends. So I would
Yeah.
just say like school season. And when we were younger, we did like travel team kind of like
Hmm.
some like a little bit of a travel team with like my school team. And I would say
Yep.
that was probably my favorite. Like when we were younger and we were pretty good when we were younger and just playing
Yeah.
with like my classmates, and that was probably my favorite basketball memories. And
Okay.
just like, yeah, just having my best friends from basketball was just, yeah, because all of
Yeah.
them play basketball, most of them have, or started
Yeah.
playing basketball.
It's funny because as you know, we all get caught up in scores and winning and points and all this stuff. And then whenever you ask anybody what their memories are, it's that stuff. It's the friends, it's
Mhm.
the bus rides.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Christine, what about you? As you think about Lily's career in basketball, what were some of your favorite memories?
let's see. Favorite memories. Something that sticks out to me is like the team you're talking about, Lily. Your group of the group of seniors now, and playing like some of that travel ball you guys
Yeah.
did together. I think just seeing the improvement of that group of girls was like every like well, really when they're really young, it's almost every game.
Right.
But when you guys were really young, you guys hardly like in elementary basketball, there's a couple seasons they were really it was rough.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden just to see all of the click and like just the awesome passing and like when they start to kind
Yeah.
of really anticipate what each other's gonna do and like that's super fun to see. And then I think just yeah, the friendships that they all have is very cool. I think also like I'm just proud of Lily for I think you like for AAU, like playing it for the right, in my opinion, kind of the right reasons. I mean, I think some people, uh, that's a, for her, it wasn't, I don't think ever a way to, go to college and play basketball. It was always, I know I need to work extra to keep improving and I want
Mm.
to, play with kids and against kids who that are, it's outside of her comfort zone, but yet that's kind of where you progress as a person. And so I think just your AAU career and playing from, fourth grade through this last summer, I mean, that's a lot of basketball. And,
Hmm.
it's again, it was never to be about about being the star on the AAU team or on her own team, but her high school team, but more about just getting better. And yeah, so that's been fun too to see.
Yeah. I know there's been some Chick-fil-A stops over the years. When you've gone on road trips, what's like your guys' go to? Like, oh, we're in the cities or we're in Alexandria or Fargo. Like, do you have like, oh man, I loved going to this place and getting food, or visiting the Mall of America or whatever? Anything like that?
I would say Chipotle. If I was like to pick,
Oh,
I would say Chipotle, even though that's kind of like, that's more of like after like tournament, I would get
right.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Chipotle. I think
Okay.
after like
Like,
games, the past few games we've been like if we have Friday games, we've had like Friday game the past like 2 weeks, and like some of our team has like gone to Alex since it's new in Alley, and we've gotten
yeah.
Chipotle, which has been really fun.
Yeah.
Which is also some
Like,
memory I'll remember.
like mother, like daughter with the Mexican food. I love
Yeah.
it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So this week we have Benson. You guys got the 5 seed, I think, right? In section 6A. You play Benson. So section 6A has Hillcrest, Breckenridge, Underwood, all very, very good teams up in section 6. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. This was fun. I wish you all the best luck, Lily, this week, and with softball, of course. But keep it going, like you said. Let's keep
Yeah.
the sisterly the basketball team going, so you guys can keep playing together as long as possible. Sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Christine.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the wild weekend in men's college basketball. We had some Titans, maybe some Final Four previews happening this Saturday. Arizona walks into Houston and wins a big game for them. Arizona had lost a couple here recently, and had that number one ranking all season long. Got knocked down a little bit. Cole Pete was injured for part of that. Was not back at Houston, and Arizona was still able to outmuscle Houston down there. Big win for Tommy Lloyd's team. I think they're solidified as a 1 seed at this point. Outside of like an epic collapse here, they just have too many big wins, too many impressive road wins. I think early in the year, Connecticut, they beat Florida opening night, and Florida's looking awesome again. And now Houston. So Arizona's looking good. Great win for them. Braden Burry's freshman guard, huge for them in that one. Jaden Bradley knocking down free throws late in the game. So really like that performance from Houston. And then I watched quite a bit of the Duke-Michigan game, and I was, as a Duke fan, a little bit skeptical. I kind of thought Michigan might be too much firepower, too much size. Duke's a little thin on the inside, but when they're playing, they're very good with Gungba and Boozer. But any foul trouble for either one of them, and that really hurts them. So I was nervous about that in this game, but they did not get in foul trouble, and they did play extremely well. Isaiah Evans also played extremely well in that game. Really impressed by Duke in that one. Honestly, they probably leap Michigan this week for number one. They'll probably be number one in polls. They'll probably be number one in the overall like bracket projections at this point. Due to that win. So if they get really good guard play, and there's some awesome plays. John Shire, I kind of gave him some heat a little bit a few weeks back about his late game execution and how Duke was handling some of those situations. But I'll tell you what, coming out of a timeout, he draws up this play. Michigan had been chasing over the top of this flare screen, so they cleared out the backside, threw a lob to Isaiah Evans, and that just kind of flipped some momentum after Michigan had cut it to 1. So just a really, really smart play by John Shire there in that timeout. So that was a fun game to watch. Big injury news in the Big 12. So if you're, also looking at your brackets and you look at records and things, and you've seen Texas Tech play earlier in the year, you got to realize now they are without JT Toppin for the season. Really unfortunate. Senior, he was playing at an All-American level, player of the year candidate for sure, putting up 20 and 10 on every night, and just he was dominating in that game at Arizona when they went in there and knocked off the Wildcats. So really sad to see JT Toppin go down. That's going to really hurt Texas Tech's ceiling they're still going to be good. They're going to battle. We actually might see more minutes from local kid Nolan Groves down there now, just because they're going to need bodies. But really too bad for them. They had high aspirations this year. And then Richie Saunders, same thing at BYU, senior, been there for a long time, kind of the heart and soul of that team. And, again, they have AJ Devonsa and they have Rob Wright, but Saunders was a big part of that team as well. And BYU also had high aspirations this season. So not to give them credit, they both bounced back with wins. Most recently over the weekend, they both won games. BYU beats Iowa State, which is really impressive win for them. Something they maybe needed to get going. We'll see if Devonsa even takes it to another level without Saunders, which is crazy if he can do that. But really unfortunate there. And then also another game that I was watching the other night was UCLA and Illinois. And boy, what a game. Illinois is up 23 in the first half. UCLA claws back. They're kind of back and forth in the final few minutes. They go to OT, and UCLA pulls off another full court attack, just a la Tyus Edney from the 90s in the tournament. And Donovan Dent goes coast to coast and gets a layup. Really nice set there from Cronin as well. So with limited time, I don't know, there's like maybe 4 or 5 seconds left. They get Donovan Dent running downhill, obviously, and they kind of set a screen along the sideline. And he's able to not only get past his guy who got screened, but also the post man who isn't quick enough to stay with him. So he gets kind of a free run at the basket, and that's too easy for a player like Dent. So UCLA with a big win. They needed that one too. They're kind of all over the place. Cronin's blowing up at reporters and all this stuff, but huge game for them. Looking at my I wanted to look a little bit at, there's some projections coming out on like the top 4 seeds. So they kind of rank the top 16 teams. And I want to get to that as well on who mine are, because, I think right now, if I had to list them, I would go for my number 1 seeds. I got Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and I have Houston. So even though they lost a few games here now, their losses are not bad. Like to me, they're still one of the elite teams in college basketball. I know they're down to 6th in Ken Palm, but they've lost to 14 Tennessee, number 16 Texas Tech, 8 Iowa State, and 3 Arizona. So for Houston, to me, that body of work is still really impressive. Now they might need to pick up they might need to run the table at this point in the Big 12. You got Kansas on Monday night in Kansas, so that's a huge game. If Houston loses any of their final 4 before the Big 12 tournament, I think they maybe slip down a seed line, and then you might see, again, somebody like Iowa State replace them, or UConn, depending on how they do. But right now, based on their schedule, based on their wins, and those are my seeds. Then the 2 line, I have Iowa State just coming off that BYU loss, UConn, Gonzaga, and Nebraska are my 2s. Nebraska was the one I wasn't quite sure of. Gonzaga too, a little bit, just because, they haven't really been tested since earlier in the year, but I tend to weight the win-loss a little more than just the metrics. So, Gonzaga's 2 losses this year are to Michigan. And then they lost a conference game to Portland, who's not a good team at all. That's a pretty bad loss, but they've beaten St. Mary's. They've beaten Santa Clara twice. They beat Kentucky. They beat UCLA. They beat Creighton, Oklahoma, Alabama. So they beat everybody else, basically. So I like them. And then Nebraska, too, body of work. And then Nebraska, too, it's the body of work for me, right? Like they beat Illinois. They beat Michigan State. They have some good wins. Now, lately they've lost, and who they've lost to, it's not number 1 Michigan. It was number 4 Illinois in Ken Palm. It was number 7 Ken Palm Purdue. And then they lose a road game at Iowa. So again, Nebraska, if they finish the Big Ten undefeated, they're going to end up with just 4 losses on the season and 4 losses in conference play. So to me, that's impressive enough that I'm going to give you a 2 seed there. The 3s, again, this is a little bit of a record thing, right? Like I like Gonzaga's record, Nebraska's record over like a Florida and Illinois. Illinois to me is just too up and down. They lose that game at UCLA that they had no business losing. The metrics love them. They're number 4 in Ken Palm, but they're 22-6. So Their losses, Florida's loss or Illinois' losses are to Alabama, Connecticut, Nebraska. Those are, all good teams. Michigan State, Wisconsin, UCLA. We'll see what happens on Friday. They have Illinois faces Michigan at home. So depending on how that game goes, I like Illinois at the 3. I could see them jumping up to the 2 line. Florida, Illinois, I think are very close to that 2 line. And then I got the other number 3s. I actually have 3 Big Ten teams at number 3. I got Purdue and Michigan State there as well. Again, Michigan State a little up and down for my liking. They still rank at number 10 in Ken Palm. Their only real bad loss was at Minnesota, who's 72nd in Ken Palm, but otherwise it's Wisconsin, Michigan, Nebraska, and Duke. So Michigan State's losses are not bad. They don't have any huge wins, though. That's my only concern. They got the Illinois win as their best win, but outside of that, they don't have a top 20 win again in Ken Palm. Arkansas, Kentucky, Ohio State, UCLA. So they got good wins, but not any like really impressive wins. But they get more chances. Michigan State goes to Purdue on Thursday, and then they finish at Michigan. So Michigan State has more opportunities here as well. And then the last one, the 4 line right now, I have Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Virginia, and I still got Texas Tech. I know the committee might punish Texas Tech a little bit in their seeding just based on the JT Toppin injury, but we'll see how they finish the season. Texas Tech, just again, based on who they've beaten and who they've lost to. I mean, they have, their losses are like Illinois, Purdue, Arkansas, Houston, Kansas. Those games are not bad. Like UCF on the road, a lot of teams have lost to UCF on the road. And then after they lost Toppin, they go down to Arizona State and lose. So, I mean, but they rebounded. So again, if they win out, they got Cincinnati, Iowa State, TCU, BYU. They could easily go 1-3 in that. They could also go 3-1. But they've beaten Duke, they've beaten Houston, they've beaten Arizona. They have some of the best wins in the country. So at some point, they have to be rewarded for that. We'll see how the final 4 games play out for Texas Tech, but I got them on the 4 line right now. So those are my top 4 seeds going into the final full week of February here. And then we'll see where we're at next week. More to come. That's my college basketball whip around for February 23rd. All right, now it's time for our weekly teams of the week. This week, I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to start with the small schools. In Class A girls basketball, my team of the week this week is the Sleepy Eye St. Mary's Knights. They are currently 25-1, 16-0 in the Tomahawk Valley Conference. They are 16-0 in their section. Their lone loss this year happened to one of the top Class A teams in Central Minnesota Christian, and that was by 4 points. The Knights are led by Morgan Mathiowicz, who's averaging 33 points a game. So look out for the Sleepy Eye St. Mary's Knights girls basketball in Class A. In Class A boys, my team of the week is the Southland Rebels. They are 24-1 with their lone loss coming to AA Rushford Peterson back in December before Christmas. They've rattled off nothing but wins since, including last week winning at Blooming Prairie and winning at Spring Grove, 80-62 to set them up for their section tournament play. Southland Rebels, one of the top teams in Class A boys. In Double A, my teams of the week for boys and girls. We'll start with the girls side. I have the Red Wing Wingers. Now, they're 22-4, 15-2 in the Big Nine Conference, but their record is mostly against a lot of 3 and 4A schools in the Big Nine. So they're 22-4, but with most of those games playing up in class. So the Wingers have already played a section game. They beat Kenyon Wanamingo last Thursday, 59-38 in Section 1 AA. And Red Wing, despite having a very young roster, is led by seniors Isabella Getzlaff and Hallie Johnson, as well as junior Alexa Getzlaff. So the Wingers have some experience to go along with the rest of their team, which is a lot of youth. So look out for Red Wing in Section 1 AA as they look to make their tournament push this week. And in Class 2A boys, I'm going with Zambroda Mazeppa. The Cougars have withstood a lot of challenges in the Hiawatha Valley League. They are 21-4 most recently coming off a win last week versus Byron. Similarly to the Red Wing girls, the Zumbrota Mazeppa boys have played a lot of 3A games in their league against Stewartville and Byron and Casson Mantorville and schools like that. So the Cougars are part of the really, really tough Section 1AA, where 6 of the top 25 teams in the QRF rankings reside. So they're going to be battle tested from the Hiawatha Valley Conference, but it is a gauntlet to get through that section. You have one of the top ranked teams in Goodhue, Cannon Falls, Rushford Peterson, Triton, Caledonia, all top 25 in the QRF. So Zumbrota Mazeppa Cougars are battle tested, and they're going to have to be to get through Section 1AA. In Class 3A, girls basketball, my team of the week are the Orono Spartans. To stick with the theme of sisters, the Orono Spartans are led by Maya Moore, not that Maya Moore, and sister Allie Moore, the senior and sophomore duo. Maya's averaging 27 points a game, and fellow senior Amelia Schwindeman is averaging double figures as well for the Spartans. They have 3 losses on the year, and they are all to 4A schools. At 22-3, Orono has been very impressive, defeating teams like De La Salle, Wayzata, Totino Grace, some of the bigger schools in girls basketball here in the state, with their most recent loss coming to Hopkins at the end of January in a 64-53 defeat. So look out for Orono. They are the top-ranked team according to QRF in the state of Minnesota. The Spartans looking to make a push for a 3A state championship. And in boys Class 3A, my team of the week, haven't talked about them a lot this year, but the Becker Bulldogs, they are currently sitting at 20-4 on the season. They have 4 players actually averaging double figures, but Bryce Palman is averaging nearly a double-double at 18 points a game and roughly 10 rebounds a game. The Bulldogs have a tough game this week against Annandale, one of the top AA teams in the state, before they finish with Monticello, which could decide the Mississippi 8 Conference, as currently Becker sits 1 game ahead of Monticello in the standings there. In Class 4A girls basketball, my team of the week this week is the Rochester Mayo Spartans. They are 25-1. They just won the Big 9 Conference again for the 4th year in a row. They are undefeated in conference play, and they received the number 1 seed in Section 1 in Class 4A. Their lone loss this year was a 59-54 setback to Eastview back around Thanksgiving, and they have been rattling off wins since. The Spartans are ranked number 8 in all of girls basketball according to Strip Varsity's latest poll, and they are led by senior Maya Banks. On the boys' side, in Class 4A, my boys basketball team of the week this week is the Chaska Hawks. Chaska is on a tear. They are 21-4 on the season, but have not lost since a setback to Prior Lake by 3 during the holiday tournament. Most recently, they beat Benilde St. Margaret's last week by 19 and St. Louis Park by 33. They are 13-0 in the Metro West Conference, so leading the league. The Hawks are led by junior guard Tyler Forrest, who is averaging 16.6 points a game and nearly 6 rebounds a game. Look out for Chaska as they enter the final week of the regular season in Minnesota boys basketball. I want to give some special recognition this week to the Concordia women's basketball team. They are the MIAC champions, finishing 16-2 in the conference. They are 22-3 overall, and recently entered the top 25 poll in Division III women's basketball. Maya Metcalf, a sophomore from West Fargo, North Dakota, was named to the D3Hoops.com National Team of the Week for the 2nd time this year. Concordia Cobbers are my MIAC Team of the Week. And my NSIC Team of the Week is the Concordia St. Paul women's basketball team. They knock off number 1 and undefeated Minnesota State Mankato last week by 21 points. They have won 13 games in a row at this moment. The leader of the group, 5'3" guard from Elk River, Lydia Hawk. She is shooting 47% from the field, 41% from 3, 82% from the free throw line. She scores 18 points a game. Even at 5'3", she's getting 5.4 rebounds a game, and she also leads the Golden Bears in assists and steals. So team of the week in the NSIC is the Concordia St. Paul women's basketball team, sitting at 21-6 overall, 17-5 in the league, and had just knocked off undefeated Mavericks. All right, that's the show for the week. Thanks again for listening. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to the podcast. Had a great conversation with my niece, a senior girls basketball player entering her final section tournament of her career. And then my sister, Christine, giving that parent perspective. Appreciate you both being on. We took a whip around college basketball, a lot of big games last weekend, some exciting games, exciting finishes, really tough injuries to deal with as well for a couple of the big teams in the Big 12. And then finishing with the teams of the week, we are entering section tournament play here for Minnesota boys and girls basketball. So exciting week ahead between now and the end of March. It's only going to get busier and more exciting. So get out there, enjoy some games. Follow me on Instagram if you get a chance. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Put a lot of videos out there. Leave a comment. Also on Facebook for those that do Facebook as well. Make sure you share with any friends that like basketball. We're going to have tons of content. I got guests lined up here throughout the next 4 or 5 weeks here just to talk tournaments, to talk basketball strategy, things like that. Again, it's going to be really fun, high energy. Still working on that local in-person podcast episode during the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So I'll give you more details on that as that comes out. But again, thank you all for listening. This has been the Splash City Basketball Podcast.
Back in that bag again.